Hey guys, Kiki from Eat More to Weigh Less. I really wanted to talk today about a question that I received recently. Someone asked, could I explain exactly how to moderate eating? Like we always say, eat everything in moderation. You don't have to cut anything out. You can still have a lot of your favorite things. And although a lot of us in the fam have been able to figure out exactly, like the way that works best for us, because it really is about the way that works best for you, because we're all eating different things. And that's the point, is we want to be able to eat the things that we love in moderation. So obviously the things that I'm able to and want to fit into my own diet are going to be different from the things that you want to fit into yours. But I figured I would do, one, maybe two, if this goes long, videos just kind of explaining some of the ways that I've learned over the years to moderate my own eating, so that this is truly a lifestyle for me. Like there's nothing that I cannot eat. There may be things that I won't eat on occasion and then that I do eat, on another occasion, but the basics of how I learned to moderate, I'm just going to share with you what I do. So hopefully you can tweak it and make it work for you. One of the biggest things that I learned how to do is, I call it make your worst your best. Like make your worst meal like your best friend. What you typically would think is like the meal that is just, doing you in. Because a lot of times I will get either with clients or sometimes maybe on like Instagram or something like that, because I post, junk food all the time on Instagram, and maybe someone will say like, I can't have that in the house, or I'll go crazy on it. Or they'll say, well, I can't, I tried that, but I can't have this thing in my diet because it ruins everything. I can't have creamer in my coffee. I can't have peanut butter, or I can't have, brownies or dessert. I have to cut out desserts because desserts are the thing that, that ruin it for me, or whatever. Pancakes, so it's always going to be different for each person. So that's why it's kind of, I kind of got away from maybe giving suggestions, because the thing that you're trying to incorporate is going to be different. So what I like to do is, and my clients know this, I'm all about always adding to what you do rather than subtracting. I don't like taking things out. I don't like the mentality that comes with it, because I know that is kind of what leads us down more of a eating disordered mentality. And the more you try to stay away from something, the more you want it. So I don't recommend taking things out of a person's diet, but I do believe that it's possible to crowd certain things out, if you feel like they are your stronghold. But I feel like abstaining from something altogether, unless it's for, medical or religious reasons, is just not necessary, as I talked about in one of the extreme videos. So what I do is I'll take the meal that, like, if you look at either at your MFP diary or just, know yourself, if it takes some thought on the front end, and that's just examining your meals and seeing what is the meal, or maybe multiple meals or food, that's throwing you off. So for me, I like to break it down into meals. And what I did was I looked at all of my meals and decided, like, what are the meals that really seem to be just like ruining my entire day? And for me, I'm self-professed carb queen. Love, 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 love carbs. And I will never remove them from my diet completely unless, like, it's some medical emergency and I have to. So I had to pinpoint what are the meals that I am like going insane with carbs on, or what I felt was insane. And so what I noticed was that for breakfast, I'm a really carby person. I like carbs for breakfast, and like sweet stuff. I have a sweet tooth when I wake up in the morning. And to me, like, I can, a lot of times have all the like bacon, eggs, or whatever I want, but I don't feel like I had breakfast if I haven't had something sweet yet. Or like if I'm on vacation and we wake up really late and, like whatever, 11, 12, 1 o'clock before we finally like eat because we have to maybe like leave the hotel to go eat. And sometimes my son and my husband, you know, they're like ready for lunch. They're like, it's, you know, it's 11, it's 1, whatever. Like, let's go somewhere and have a steak or whatever it is they want. But for me, I'm like, but we haven't had breakfast yet. Like, we can't just skip. I am not and can never be a breakfast skipper. I love breakfast and I love certain foods. Tell me that I've had breakfast. Other foods will not do that. Even if I eat them during the breakfast time slot, I don't feel like I had breakfast. And the other one for me is dessert. After dinner, I like to have something sweet or carby. And those two, when I really narrowed it down, those are the 2 meals, and this is what I recommend to a lot of clients, is find out the meal that you have to have a certain thing. So for instance, if it's carbs, instead of saying I need to cut out carbs, narrow down what are the meals that like are non-negotiable. You have to have XYZ. For me, I had to have carbs, breakfast, and dessert. So what you do is, instead of, you know, wrecking your brain trying to figure out how can I remove those things? How can I, you know, stop eating carbs for breakfast? How can I not eat dessert? Like, can that even happen? I don't think so. But so what I would say is, if those are the meals that you have to have it, then start with the meals that you don't really care about and just, you know, and put it in reverse. So what I did was I stopped fighting it. I said, okay, if I have to have carbs at breakfast, at my bookends pretty much, like these have to have carbs, what meals do I not really care that much about as far as carbs, or kind of in general, that I can, you know, maybe tighten those up a bit. So what I suggest doing is just that, is find the meals that most of us have, 1, maybe 2 meals that you really don't care what you eat, but you know you need to eat. So for me, it was lunch. Like, once I, like, you know, get the gunshots going, the day is like moving, I don't really like stopping. I don't really like big lunches. I don't really care. I don't care what I eat for lunch. So I decided to take advantage of that. If that's the meal that pretty much whatever is there I'm gonna eat, then I probably shouldn't waste those calories, those macros on something that is not beneficial. So I suggest this to clients all the time. Take the meal that you care the least about and make it your best meal. So for you, if that's breakfast, and maybe you typically either tend to skip breakfast or you just have coffee and you're like, I'm done, I don't want anything, you know, you're just not a big breakfast fan, then make that the meal that you eat the cleanest. You know, that's like your macros are on point. And even, they may not even have to be like macros overall, but the macro that you're typically missing at the end of the day, insert that into the meal that you care the least about. So make that your, if you have a problem hitting your fiber, then make that meal your fiber heavy meal. Make that meal your protein heavy meal if you have a problem hitting your protein, which for me, that's what it is. Like I'm just not a big protein eater. So I decided to make my lunches my heavy hitter as far as protein. Not that I'm not still trying to portion, you know, out protein throughout the entire day, but I make lunch protein heavy in the sense that I typically won't have a carb with it. So whereas before, you know, I have these carby breakfasts that I love, love, love. You know, carby desserts that I'm like, you know, my day is complete. Having those, but then filling in the gaps with things that, like, I mean, I could kind of care less about. So like having a sandwich and chips at lunch was kind of overkill when I looked at the course of my day. And since that was the meal that it didn't really matter much for me yet, then that was the one that I eliminated. So I stopped doing so many, you know, I would just do sandwich and chips just because, I mean, that was just like typical lunch fare, and it was something that I could think of quickly. And my husband's a big lunch eater, and so when we would eat lunch together, that's kind of what he would have, you know, do like a grilled cheese or whatever. So I kind of adapted that from him, and it was like I would always end up at the end of the day, like my carb to protein ratio being off. But once I fixed that, it was like that one tweak was the thing that really took my macros to the next level. So I was really one of those people that was just like, I'm just obviously never gonna hit my macros. There just must be a way to do this without hitting my macros, which I was discovering that there wasn't. So I had to figure out a way, and that was one of the first things I did that was really a game changer for me. So I would encourage you, if you can do something like that, if you can find the meal that you don't care about, if you're the same way, if you like a lot of carbs at the beginning and the end of your day, then find the spots in the middle where maybe you can even have a protein only meal, you know. So, you know, obviously if you're the type of person that's just like eating chicken breast and broccoli all day, then your lunch probably already is just fine, you know. If you have like rice or something, then maybe you would remove that. For me, I started eating things like the Trader Joe's chicken burger. It's like a chili lime chicken burger. I started eating that by itself, like maybe just like with some guacamole, and pretty much that's it. Because like I said, I don't like lunch. I almost have to like force myself to eat it. So if I'm gonna force myself to eat something, then that's the time that I really don't care about taste or anything like that. So I'll eat a chicken breast. I'll eat, sometimes there's these Purdue chicken fillet breast thingies. I don't know if they're called. I'll put a link to them in the description. But my husband just like buys these by the bag because he knows how I am about lunch, and that's just a quick fix for me. You know, whatever, maybe it's not super like clean or whatever, but it gets me lunch, and it's good macros. It's higher on the protein than they're breaded, so it does have some carb, but it's higher on the protein side. So it works for me because I can fit it in and it not completely like skew my macros like it would have in the past by having, you know, that chili lime burger on a bun and then fries or, you know, chips or something like that, or the same thing like having the chicken breast with some kind of, you know, like I would eat carbs. I resort to carbs when I don't know what else to do. When I'm just like hungry, I just grab carbs. So if you have a planned protein fix, sorry about the dog. If you have a planned protein fix for the meal that you care the least about, a meal that you could just scarf and keep it moving and not really dwell on, do it, because that is going to help you at the end of the day to reach your protein goals a lot easier than it would be to try to completely eliminate a meal that you know you can't eliminate, you know, or a macro that you know you can't eliminate from that meal long term. So I would highly recommend trying that. That's just one little tip. I'll try to give more. If you guys think that stuff like that is beneficial, let me know, because, you know, there's some things that I do that I've been doing for a while and I forget that I do them. So if they will help, you know, or you need more tips on how to just the little tweaks that can help you, because you know I'm all about the baby steps. Little tweaks that can help you to hit your macros, because I'm telling you, it's all about the food. Like, you can work out until you're blue in the face, and most of y'all know this, but you will not see the changes that you want to see. So if you have problems hitting the goals that you've set for yourself, or maybe goals that your trainer has given you, or goals that we told you that you should try, let me know if tips like this are helpful to you, and I'll just keep breaking them down in little nuggets of things that I do, and then you can find ways to tweak them to work for whatever it is that you do. Hope that helped. Okay, if you guys find this beneficial, make sure you like it, subscribe for more. I will try to keep posting every week, just little helpful tips, and that way you will get a notification every time we do post a video so that you don't fall behind. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.